And the Fight Day live chat has returned. UFC 324 going down tonight, starting off in about 4 hours. Reminder that the UFC has changed their start times moving forward. 9 p.m. Eastern main card, which means prelims normally move up an hour or so. Depends on the amount of fights on the card, obviously. We had originally, I believe, 14 fights scheduled for this card. We are down to 12 with Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes obviously being canceled last week. That was not a great announcement. I think that was the fight, maybe the first or second most anticipated fight, at least for me as a viewer, as a hardcore nut. That fight got canceled last week, so that was a bit of a bummer. And now, yesterday, Cameron Smotherman, we all know what happened. Obviously, fallen after weighing in. That fight gets canceled not even a half hour after that incident occurred. And now we're down to 12 fights. So as of right now, the start time still seems to be 4 p.m. Eastern, but we'll wait and see what the UFC decides to do a little bit closer. They might push it back. They might start the broadcast and then just do a bunch of, filler stuff, highlight videos, and sending it over to the guys at the desk, and they're trying to break it down, those analysts and all that. So as of right now, 4 p.m. Eastern is the start time for UFC 324. I'm very excited about it. It should be a good night of fights. Again, it's not the main event that we were hoping for, but it is still a card worthy of your attention. Obviously, as a hardcore fan, you're more than happy to have these fights back in play. But to even a casual fan, for casual fans, I think they're more than happy to have this type of card. There are going to be some bangers on it. Even, Waldo Cortez Acosta against Derek Lewis, Gene Silva against Arnold Allen has been taking a lot of steam over the last couple of days as well. Sorry, just want to do a quick test here to make sure everything's good on the chat bot side of things. It's not the easiest to run this OBS style chat here, but we'll wait and see if this ends up actually coming through for us. Let me just make sure that everything's good here. It's taking a little bit. I don't like that. Think it's coming up. Maybe it's coming up. Just give me a second here, folks. I'm already live. Come on. I don't know if there's an issue with the chat. Let me just refresh that as well. Hopefully it's good. I'm going to keep my eye on it, but continue on with the live stream here. So, Fight Day live chat. It is mainly for the folks that want to chop it up before the fights start off. I used to do these a bunch, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern every fight day, and I missed it. I miss talking to you guys on fight day, so I'm more than happy to finally get you guys situated here. It looks like the live chat in the YouTube is working fine, but the chat actually on the screen here is not really catching up, so I'm not sure what the issue is there. Hopefully I can resolve that sooner or later. From what I know, you just got to refresh a little, and then it should start to pop up. Yeah, not the time for it to be really shit in the bed. So, I guess I'm just going to go full cam here. There we go. We'll go full cam since the chat box isn't really working. So if you guys want to just drop comments in the YouTube comment section, that's more than worthy and will get enough attention there. Seems like my stream rate is kind of buffering a little bit too much. I'm just tripping. You know what I mean? I am a guy that loves to perfect the visual and audio portions of the streams, and it seems like there are some issues here on my end, but I'm going to keep rolling through it. We're going to see what we can get through and take as many comments, questions, and concerns for this UFC 324 card. The one thing I did want to touch upon, some big news coming out earlier this morning was the UFC finally announcing their new bonus structure, which I think is going to be very good. You know, not just the amount of money that they're dishing out. Obviously, they're changing it from 50,000 for 2 performances bonuses and the fight of the night to each competitor. Now they've upped it to $100,000 for fight of the night for each fighter and 2 performance bonuses. And then, yes, I can see that Lewis CR. So I believe if you're on the YouTube page, you should still be able to see the chat on the side. And that's what we're going to continue to rely on here. But yes, the other part that I'm very happy about with the UFC and their new bonus structure is they're awarding finishes. So guys are going to be a little bit more aggressive in terms of trying to get the finish, especially the guys on the prelims, knowing they can add another $25,000 to the pocket. For most fighters, you know, that's a 50% increase in their revenue, or at least in their purse. So they're definitely going to be looking for a little bit more. Maybe the guys that are already making, you know, 75, 100, and 100 probably won't be as privy in terms of risking it more and actually having, putting things on the line. But the guys on the prelims are definitely going to be going for the kill. One, hoping that they can get the performance bonus, right? 100K is going to be amazing for them. But to just get a finish, period, to get an extra 25K for that, no matter how that finish comes, right? It doesn't need to be a highlight reel knockout. It doesn't need to be, it could even be a TKO cut. From my understanding, a finish guarantees an extra 25K in your pocket. So I think that's a tremendous addition for the UFC. I know it's been talked about a lot in terms of how they can incentivize fighters a little bit more. And I think if you want to try to increase the viewership and make it more fan friendly and kind of move away from the style that the UFC has been scared of, which is a lot of grapple heavy fighters, a lot of fighters that there was an article, a couple months back about guys or the UFC not being as in tune with going for a finish. You know, they're not signing as many Russians because they're so content with just grinding guys out and out wrestling guys. So maybe this 25K bonus helps a little bit more. Maybe those Russians who are more attuned to grappling are going to be looking to be more aggressive with the grappling, trying to secure finishes, submissions, TKO positions. I'm very excited to see how that affects the fights moving forward. Doug Milky, probably butchering your last name there, I apologize. Yes, we did make it to UFC Fight Day. Very excited. Again, the fights kick off in about 4 or so hours. I'll be doing these Fight Day live streams every UFC Fight Day, 1 p.m. Eastern starting, usually going for about an hour or so. Then I take a little bit of a break off, and then I go live for the Watch Party Buddies live stream. So if you are a member of the YouTube membership, it's only $2 a month. We'll be watching the fights live together in the live chat. It will be a public stream, but the chat will only be for members only. I want to keep it as positive and high vibes as possible, and I feel like the best way to do so is just to have that group of guys, the members only folks that really support the channel, kicking it, having a few drinks, yucking it up for 6 hours or however long the fights take place. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and I'll be kicking that off at 4 p.m. Eastern. So if you haven't already hit up the YouTube members, make sure you guys do so and join on in when the fights kick off at 4 o'clock, and we could enjoy a bunch of fights together. Again, this is great for people that watch fights normally on their own, don't really have friends that are fight fans either. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see, my guy Doug saying, if we are a Patreon member, does that funnel over too? So I've tried a few streams in the past, private YouTube streams alongside the Patreon streams. The issue is that it just, so I don't have like a gaming PC or anything like that. I have a laptop, a gaming laptop, and I feel like dishing out two separate streams kind of impacts the quality and the work rate of my laptop. So I will start off doing both streams for Patreon and YouTube, but I think I might just keep it for YouTube members just because it's a lot less stress on my laptop to try and push out two streams at once. Just to have that one stream on YouTube, I think it will be a lot easier. So I will try to do it, see if it taxes my laptop a little bit too much through the first fight or so. And if it does, then I'll just do it strictly for the YouTube members. I got nothing but love for my Patreon folks. You guys have been absolutely amazing. But I feel like this is kind of a stream that I really want to focus more so on the YouTube side of things, since that is the streaming platform that I rely upon most. All right, my guy Lewis here saying, would be interesting to set a point earned criteria for using multiple ways of fight during the match. I think it would force everyone to use strikes and grapple evenly. Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe like takedowns scored alongside significant strikes. I think that just muddies the waters a little bit too much, right? Like then it gets to the point of like almost like basketball where you're just scoring so many points that it's kind of hard. What I would like to see more, if we are going to kind of adjust the points earned criteria a little more, let's be a little bit more lenient with 10-8s. Like if it's absolutely clear that you want to fight even or won the round, even if you didn't hurt the guy or drop the guy or nearly finish the guy, but you know for damn certain that fighter A won the round, give them a 10-8. If it's closer, if it's a little bit more toss up, and if it was maybe a takedown or one significant strike that kind of separated one from the other, then let's go 10-9. But if it's clear as day, I'm for 10-8 rounds being scored more often. That will separate things a little bit more. So that's kind of the stance I have on the scoring criteria, other than the fact that I would love to see live scoring as well. Octagon MMA utilizes that pretty effectively, and it's great to see, knowing that, okay, two judges gave this fighter this round and one judge gave that round to the other fighter. And it's good for the fighters as well. I know that the large looming incentive or perspective against live scoring is the fact that people believe in the third round, one fighter who knows he's up is just going to coast. He might just lay and pray, kind of go like that. But then it's kind of on the other fighter to take more risks to try to get the finish. And now with these incentives of to like that 25K finish bonus, maybe guys won't coast as much. So the live scoring is cool and all, but getting that extra 25K might push these guys a little bit more. My guy Doug saying, yeah, that to me makes total sense. I'll sub on YouTube too easily enough. Exactly. It's only $2 a month. Yeah, I mean, I'm not asking too much. For me, it's more so just separating negativity and trolls from guys that actually want to kick it, watch the fights, have fun. So that's kind of the incentive behind the watch party. I want to have drinks. I don't want to have to worry about filtering out and modding out bullshit that ultimately comes in. No matter what it is. Those guys can go to other public live streams if they want to watch fights. But I want to know that the guys that are in here with me watching these fights are real dudes, are guys that are more than happy to kick it and watch fights together. And have some drinks too, because nothing better than having a few drinks while you're watching these fights. My guy Lazo Shotadadze, probably, that sounds Georgian. Which fight would you recommend to not go the distance? In terms of, if you take odds into consideration as well, let me see if I can pull this up. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Let's go to best fight odds. Fight that I believe will not go the distance. And considering odds, right? That's something that we obviously want to take into consideration here. Because obviously the Gauthier Puliev fight, that fight doesn't go to decision, is sitting at minus 1250, right? You don't want to bother with playing that type of line on something. The other one that really intrigues me, though, is the Arnold Allen and Gene Silva fight. Under 2.5. It's sitting at plus 105 now, so it seems like it's taking a little bit of action. It was roughly around plus 125. That's the one that I like. All 6 of Gene Silva's UFC fights have not hit the scorecards. They've hit under 2.5 as well. And just the way he fights, Allen is not much of a finisher, but when you add that ingredient of a guy like Terrence McKinney or even Gene Silva, he pushes the fight so much so to the point that the other guy can either get finished or become a finisher himself. And I feel like the way that these guys line up, we're going to see a finish there. So I like the plus money under there. And as my guy Matthew Towler says here, the Bukowskis and Krylov fight doesn't go to decision is not a bad look either. Although it is all the way up at minus 500, minus 375 for the under 2.5. I think we'll see Bukowskis get the knockout, and I think his knockout line is actually not that bad. It's actually plus 145 now. I think it was a little bit better earlier. But I think if one guy gets the finish, it might be Bukowskis. But I like the Bukowskis side quite a bit here. I don't know why my chatbot's not loading. I'm really bummed about that. Let's just get back to this screen here. Let's see. Good to see you as well, my friend Matthew Fowler. Dre the General is saying that's easy, the Lewis fight. Yeah, that's probably not going to hit the scorecards either, right? But you're getting crazy odds on that as well. Let me just quickly see what that one's sitting at. I like the under 1.5, which is actually sitting at plus money now. Wow, that's actually interesting. Minus 280 on the fight to not go to decision either. I'm pretty sure the under 1.5 for that Lewis fight just a few days ago was closer to like minus 130, excuse me. Maybe plus 100. That's not too bad. That is not bad at all. My guy Tazo Shotadze. Got you, my brother. Yes, you are from Georgia. I'm a big Raptors fan. I don't know if you're a basketball fan at all, but we do have a Georgian on our team, Sandro. I'm already butchering it off the top of my head. Mamukelishvili. And then obviously Merab Dvalishvili. We've had a few other Georgians in the UFC as well, but I got love for Georgia because of Sandro Mamukelishvili. Absolutely killed it for us against the Portland Trail Blazers yesterday, so I'm very happy about that. Let's see. Gauthier will def get a KO, says my guy Luis. I gotta zoom in. Your name is Louis. Not Lewis. I got to zoom in on my screen a little bit more here so I can actually read your guys' names. My eyesight's kind of kicking out here. Even my guy, Tazo Shotadze, I was calling him Lazo Shotadze because it looked like an L, but I got my zoom in a little bit better now. All right. Gauthier will def get a KO. Greg in the chat, appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Saying, do you bet all the fights just for the action or just a select few? Thanks for all you do. No, it's more so, I research the spots. I obviously break down every single fight, but unless I see a little bit of an edge in terms of the odds, my confidence level, then I more so rely on those specific spots. So I do like, I don't go for all of them. I do like a Hail Mary one just for kicks, kind of like the lottery ticket, if anything. But for the most part, it's just specific and select few. For this one, by example, I think I have action on 6 of the 12 fights. which you can find at the MMA LOT and Patreon page. I do have a free play that I dropped there, Alexander Hernandez, minus 110. I was a little bit skeptical on him earlier in the week when he was up around minus 160. Now down to that pick'em price tag, it's hard to overlook him. My thought process behind that leading in throughout fight week was, if I can get him pick 'em or plus money, that's a better way to go about it, because Johnson might be the better minute winner, but I have decent enough confidence that Hernandez can land that big knockout shot, which I think, the durability of Johnson is still a little bit of a question mark. The cardio is a question mark. Same with Hernandez in a sense, but I really think that Hernandez can land that big bomb just as he's done in his last two fights against Chase Hooper and Diego Ferreira. You got Johnson kind of on the Ferreira side of things here in terms of the older guy, questionable durability, and Hernandez will definitely be able to expose that. So to get that at a pick and price tag is not a bad spot. My guy Tazo Shotadze saying, actually, I was going to say that Gene Silva might bounce back like Praches did this year. It's possible. I do like the under. So I'm hoping for violence no matter who it ends up being. Dre the General saying, I really like Allen with plus money. I can understand that. I'm a little bit hesitant on the chalk on Silva. I think he wins, but I'd rather go the under there. I feel like there's going to be chaos there. I feel like there's a little bit of bad blood, and I feel like we'll definitely see some action there. So I'm going to go plus money under, but you're getting a damn good line on Allen straight up as well. So I don't hate that. Dre the General also saying, any concern with Quicksilva turnaround from being KO'd? I spoke about this earlier in the week. I think, he was TKO'd essentially. He wasn't removed from his consciousness, right? He was hurt. He was rocked badly, and this is a bit of a quick turnaround, and that's kind of going more so into my thought process of the under here, and not Silva by KO, right? Allen is live to land that KO, and maybe he is a little bit concussed still from that knockout loss to Diego Lopez at the beginning of September. It's been over 3 months now. Maybe that's a good enough time for him to come back. He obviously got cleared, and again, he wasn't completely put out cold. So that's the kind of counter to any concern with Silva's quick turnaround here. But obviously that's something you got to consider in the back of your mind. He was amazing at Eurobasket too. So you do know my guy Mamu Kalashvili. I know he was with the Spurs before. Great three-point shooter, especially for a big man. Absolutely killed it for us. But yeah, there are those select few guys that come over from Eurobasket that are able to translate, right? I don't know how much you keep up with Eurobasket, but there's so many guys at the top of my head that I can think of that either translated or didn't translate. But shout out to Mamu Kalashvili. Matthew Towler is saying, how do you feel about Freeman round 3 KO plus 2,200? I don't mind it, man. I really don't mind it. I'm trying to figure out who has the edge later on in the fight. And to me, off rip, it seems like Hockett, because Hockett likes to push that pace, push that pressure, and I think that could potentially wear Freeman down. But if Freeman comes locked in, and if he fights to the level of Hockett, or even fights to his own level, which is so much higher, because he is so much better than what we saw in November in his UFC debut, I don't mind that round 3 KO either. I didn't mind the straight up money line at plus 200. I think you can get even at a better line now, but I think the bet in that fight would have to be the Freeman side. WTP Brown saying there's a story rolling around that Alexander Hernandez is hurt. I must have missed that. Even my guy Greg Amador here is saying, did you hear any rumors regarding the Johnson Hernandez fight, hence why the line dropped so significantly? To me, my initial thought is it's a lot of people seeking the value on Johnson. There is a good point to be made for Johnson. In my best bets segment that I dropped on Thursday, I talked about Johnson being a live underdog. A guy that can go out there. He's streaking right now. Confidence is sky high. He has a lot of good things that he can do. Better minute winner, fast with his hands. But Hernandez, he's been undervalued a lot on the on the betting lines in recent fights, right? Big underdog against Chase Hooper. I think it was a decent favorite against Diego Ferreira. And even here, a lot of action going against him. So, yeah, I got minus 110. I didn't take too much of a bite there, like just a decent enough to get one unit there. So if it ends up being that Hernandez is hurt, it is what it is. Maybe he pulls out before the fight. Maybe he doesn't want to get sucked into an Isaac Bulgarian issue here, right? But it's not a massive swing the way that we saw the Bulgarian fight. That was another issue there. So I don't mind the minus 110 on Hernandez and kind of hoping that this injury rumor is just that. It's just a rumor. Doug's saying Paddy by sub round 2 or round 3 is my best long shot, I guess. It's not bad. I'm leaning more so round 3, round 4. But round 2, round 3 could absolutely cash as well. So good luck on that, my friend. My guy, 24 Karat Black, or BLK. I'm assuming that's what it's for. Shout out to you. I appreciate seeing you here in the chat, my friend. Freeman's chin is unknown. I have speculation. From everything I've seen from, I've watched his, earlier fights when he was in 185er, moving on up. His chin looks fine. I think he has a good enough durability. His athleticism obviously helps with that. He's very agile on his feet compared to Max Jimenez, who's just, the guy's a bit of a blob, right? So I think it was easy for Hockett to kind of just walk through him. I don't think Hockett's going to have the confidence to throw as recklessly as he did against Jimenez. I think he'll be more, he'll try to throw the jab out there a little bit more and find his way in a little better than he did against Jimenez. But I think Freeman is just a lot better than the odds indicate. He just needs to lock in mentally. Physically speaking, he has all the chops. Skill-wise, he has all the chops. He's just got to lock the fuck in mentally. Matthew Taylor saying Hernandez flies under the radar. He did, or he does still, right? He is a guy that even I'm guilty of overlooking him in the Chase Hooper fight. That should have been a no-brainer spot. I remember there was a round 1 knockout prop sitting at plus 1400, and I think I even mentioned it in the best prop segment or the prop drop segment that I used to do. So that's another thing that I hope I'm not swinging the pendulum too much by taking the shot on Hernandez, but if he's not injured, this is a winnable fight for him. Dre the General saying, will Rose be able to close the distance on Silva and her point fighting style? I think she can, man. I think she'll be able to cut off the cage. I think she's a skilled enough striker, and I think she can mix in the takedowns enough that she can make this fight really close. My prediction was Silva because that style is so hard to contain, but with Rose, she does a good job in terms of cutting off the cage. She's very experienced. I really like her in the spot, especially around that plus 300, plus 320 range she was at earlier this week. So, it's worth a shot. If this was a pick 'em price, I'd probably just stay off of it. But since you're getting Rose at such a good value price, knowing her experience, knowing some of the issues we've seen in Silva's game, especially in the Araujo fight, if Rose can kind of follow that type of blueprint, she could be successful here. And she's really starting to fill in 125 pounds very well. She's already taller than Silva. She's starting to get a little bit bulkier and stronger for the weight class, and I think that's going to help her out moving forward. So, I think we could see a pretty good performance from her here. And as a big underdog, I think it's a no-brainer. My guy Tazo saying Freeman had the most boring debuts of all time. I think UFC is using him to build Hockett because of that performance. It's possible. But again, whenever we look at these fights and research these fights, I think it's worth mentioning that you gotta take a macro view, not a micro view. Take a macro view of a fighter, not just one of their performances. And I think that's why the line is as skewed as it is because people are like, yo, Freeman looked like dog shit in his UFC debut. But take a look at this guy's resume, man. He's done a very good job in a lot of his fights. So definitely worth looking into. Tommy Lipschitz, appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Brother, I don't know how much you realize the value of a prop drop videos when you predict the path of victory for each fighter. I did very well off these, even if you just mentioned them in other videos. So that's what the best bets video is. I'm not sure if you checked out the best bets video that I dropped on Thursday. My last segment in that video are my favorite props. Now, I don't touch on every single fight, but I do touch on most fights. So if you haven't checked out the best bets video, please check that out. I think that will kind of scratch the itch that you're asking for here, but I'll be a little bit more tuned in to covering as many fights in that small stretch for that best bet segment. So again, that best bet segments is pretty much all the single segments that I used to do, minus chalk or not, and I just cram them together. I give my lock of the night play on there as well, Locky two-step, Locky Trinity, favorite dogs or live dogs, and then the favorite props there as well. So Tommy, please check out that best bet segment if you haven't already, and everything's time stamped as well. So if you want to go straight to the prop drop or at least the props segment of it, you can do that as well. But I do appreciate the love and what you are saying about the value of the prop drop videos. For me, it's more so just, I see what the industry is kind of headed towards, and they just want these straight up videos, right? Like the weigh-in recap. That's not something I used to do, but there is seemingly some value in it, so I will provide those. The best bet segment, that is another solid one where it's just everything kind of crammed into one. And then live streams, quick picks, which is always going to be around because of the ease in which to view that for people, and then the full card breakdowns as well. So I'm hoping that this is a good enough restructuring of the channel this year. It seems like it's gotten some pretty good love, and I really appreciate that from you guys. And yeah, I'm looking to a much better 2026 and a 2026 where I can finally freaking crack that 10,000 subscriber mark. I'm sitting around that 9,350 mark right now. I think I can get at least 650 subscribers before the end of the year, right? Obviously, you got to do good on these predictions, so that's one part of it. But I would love to crack that 10,000 subscriber mark because I believe I deserve it. I believe I put in the work, and yeah, I would love to crack that mark. So if you guys haven't already, please hit that subscribe. It would mean the world to your boy. All right. My guy, 24K, saying MJ and Hernandez are flaking, totally stayaways. I understand that, and I think that's more so of an odds-based thing. I feel like we're getting a good enough line on Hernandez to take the plunge there, so I'll be more than happy to shoot on that. My guy Lewis saying Patty versus Gaethje goes the distance, 100. Wow. Interesting. That's an interesting take, and not one that I'm really seeing a lot of out there. There's a possibility, maybe Patty grinds this out enough and Gaethje just does enough to not get finished. But the one that still surprises me that we got 5 freaking rounds out of was Michael Chandler against Charles Oliveira 2. That one I felt like for goddamn sure was not going to hit the scorecards, yet it hit the scorecards. So it's possible this one could too as well. 24K saying Freeman's high kicks are legit and very sneaky. Absolutely. The guy has a Taekwondo background on top of that wrestling background. So for a guy of his size, a guy that used to fight at 185, he moves just as well at 260 as he did at 185. Hence, you can see with those head kicks as well. So he's very sneaky, very underrated, and a guy that I think could really surprise a lot of people. I do quickly want to ask for the current viewers, what is the quality like on the audio right now for the live stream? I see that the video is kind of a little bit grainier than I would like it to be. I'm seeing something about the stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. I was trying to figure that out before the stream started. Couldn't really figure it out, but I'm hoping to get that dialed in for next week. But please let me know what the audio is like. As long as you guys can hear me properly and it's not chopped in, out like that, I'm fine with it. But we will figure this thing out. Klaus MMA, appreciate you stopping by, my friend, saying how we feeling on main event under 3.5. 3.5 is the total that I would rather take the shot on. I think that's an alternate under. I'm not sure what the number that you're getting on that is, but I like the under 3.5 rather than the 2.5. I feel like this fight's going to need some fighting. It's possible it could spill into the 4th round, but I really feel like we should get a finish by the 3rd, which is why I would like the 3.5 instead of the 2.5. So, yeah, let me know what number you're getting there on the under 3.5. Tommy Lipschitz saying, I would love if you continued every single fight, like your full prediction, just a little mention as to how you'd see the dog fave winning. I watch all your videos regardless, you're the man and help my game. Thank you. I really appreciate that comment, my friend. You know what? Just for you, just know this. Anytime you see the best bet segment, my guy, I will do it for every single fight for my best bets segment in the prop drop portion of it. I'll do it for every single fight. Yeah, I got you. That comment alone was enough to push me in that direction. So I really, really greatly appreciate that. Klaus and my guy Matthew Tyler saying that the audio quality is great. So very happy about that. Thank you guys. All right, we got about another 20 minutes or so before I'm going to wrap this thing up. And again, reminder, I will be watching the fights live here on YouTube. I'm going to do a watch party buddies stream is what I'm going to be calling it moving forward. At least 2 UFC events a month. I'm going to do my best to do all of them, but again, I don't want to promise to do all of them because there will obviously be Saturdays where I want to be a social human being. But at least 2 UFC events a month, I will be doing a watch party buddies live stream here. The video will be public, but the chat will only be for members only. So hop on that members only if you haven't already, and we'll create a solid community of guys that we can just sit back, watch the fights, and really just have some drinks, enjoy the fights. Nothing better than kicking in and watching some fights. My guy, Let's Be Serial, jumping in the chat again. Appreciate seeing you there, my friend. Now that the line has flipped, is the value now on Hernandez? Yes, it is. I was talking about a little bit before you hopped in here. I've had my skepticism about Hernandez for several fights now, but stylistically speaking, I feel like this is one he can eventually find that big shot to put Johnson away. So even if you want to hone in more so on that Hernandez KO, it's not bad, but I don't mind the money line at -110. So I like Hernandez now at this spot. Low confidence, but still enough that I feel like there is a little bit of value on Hernandez's line. Klaus MMA saying main event under 3.5, -190. I'd like it a little bit closer to -150, but -190, I guess you can take it. I wouldn't call it a lock by any means. It's definitely safer than the 2.5 in my opinion. One that I feel should hit, but I feel like there's going to be violence. There's going to be that under 3.5 that should end up coming through here. Man, you guys have been awesome. Honestly, I really appreciate you guys stopping by. And I'm not wrapping up the stream just yet, but I just want to express my gratitude for you guys stopping by and knowing that, moving forward, every UFC fight day, we're gonna be live streaming here 1 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern, just talking all last minute things that you want to talk about the fight. So I appreciate you guys stopping by as always. My guy, Let's Be Serial saying MMA cycle thoughts. Umar sub, Sugar decision, Paddy KO plus 2,500. Those are all viable finish methods for these guys. Umar, I think he finishes. Inside the distance, I think is a little bit safer than the sub prop. Sugar decision, I kind of have a little bit of an issue with. It's favored that he wins by decision, I believe, but I think that he's going to find that knockout. I feel like he's going to be able to really counter the leaping style of Song into the pocket. I think he'll counter that and knock him out. Again, I can see the decision, and that's the favored method of victory there, I believe, for Sugar. And then Paddy KO. I talked about this even in the best bets segment as well. When you have a guy that's so dominant on the ground, TKO or submission is always possible. It's either or. They can get their picking. Are they going to just rain down elbows and get the finish like I believe Paddy did against Chandler? I think he TKO'd him. Or are they going to look for the rear naked choke and try to get the finish that way? So again, MMA cycles are mainly meant to be long shots. They're meant to be lottery ticket type stuff. For plus 2,500, that's not a bad spot. The way that I would kind of reconfigure that, if I was doing it my way, Umar inside the distance, Sugar KO, Paddy inside the distance. But I doubt you'd get plus 2,500 for that. Tommy Litchitz saying, love it. Thank you so much. You don't need to go in crazy detail, even if it's just you saying they'd win most likely by X, Y, or Z. I know how much time and effort it takes you making all these videos. For sure. I'll definitely mention it. I'll go in detail about the ones that I'm, a little bit more passionate about, or a little bit more confident about, but I'll be sure to at least mention the ones that I like, again, for the winner and against the winner. So, again, market research. This is the only way I know what you guys want, by letting me know. So I do appreciate that, Tommy. Chani, appreciate you stopping by. Main event guaranteed going over 2 rounds. Wow. I wouldn't say guaranteed, but there's a good chance that it's, gets over 2 rounds. I think it finishes, and I think it's going to take some wear and tear. But yeah, there's a good enough chance that it goes over 2 rounds, but I still expect it to finish under 3.5 rounds. Appreciate you as well, Tommy. I appreciate you as well. Let's be serial. Close MMA saying how we feeling on Arnold Allen, his defense. Sorry, chat is crapping out here. How we feeling on Arnold Allen? His defense is a lot better than the guy Silva has beaten. That's true. His defense is better, but I think that constant forward movement could maybe cause Allen some issues here. Again, I'm picking Silva to win. Not a whole lot of confidence at his chalky price tag, but I like the under. I like violence in that matchup. Silva brings out the finishing nature in most guys, and usually it's him getting the finish, but I think Allen could counter and maybe get a knockout of his own. So that's definitely something to consider here. But I like violence most in that fight. You're getting good value on Allen. I'll definitely say that. So if you like his money line, I'd say go ahead and shoot. But covering either winner here, I think it happens under 2.5 rounds. Dre saying Petty K only dropped $5 on it. Not too bad. Again, could get the TKO. Let's be serious saying got a different parlay with Umar finish, Sugar KO decision, and Patty finish. That's not a bad one. I feel like that's a little bit safer of a lottery ticket. Not a lock. Again, not a lock, but a bit safer than the one that you had dropped earlier. Or the cycle parlay that somebody mentioned earlier. Josh Coggins saying, I'm so excited to watch the fights and not play an arm and a leg. Still pissed off at you U.S. folks, or anybody who has access to Paramount Plus. We have it up here in Canada too, but Sportsnet still has the broadcasting rights, so there is pay-per-view up here in Canada still. Unfortunately, I'm hoping that there's enough of an uproar from fans that Sportsnet just decides, even a couple months from now, to give up the pay-per-view model. I think they'd get more subscribers as well. I think most people would subscribe to Sportsnet Plus just to get all that UFC content, so including pay-per-views. But yes, Paramount Era should be a good one. Put those in DK's boost on winning method. Don't have DK available to me up here, so or at least where I'm at up in Canada. So if anybody can, you're getting some good value there. Matthew Tallerson, do you like any other fights to have a late finish? I'm thinking the Umar Nurmagomedov fight. Let's switch this over. You know what? Give me one sec. I want to pull up the MMA Fight Archive. I like to use that as my kind of tapology that a lot of people use for their live streams. Just got to sign back into it. Give me one sec here, folks. I don't know if you guys can hear my laptop, but again, this is why I'm kind of against streaming on both Patreon and YouTube, which is why I might just do YouTube moving forward. I don't want to ask too much of my laptop here. All right, let's get the MMA Fight Archive up here. So, other fights that I expect to finish late. This is UFC 324. Gaethje Pimblett, I'm thinking round 3, round 4. O'Malley Yadong, that could happen almost at any moment. Cortez Acosta Lewis, I think that's probably first round. I think Silva Namajunas goes the distance. Alan Silva could happen at any moment, maybe round 1, round 2. Nurmagomedov, I expect to get a round 3 finish. Gauthier might be round 1, round 2. Bukowskis Krylov could happen at any moment. Perez Johnson, I expect to hit the scorecards. Hernandez, I'm thinking more so round 2, maybe round 3 as Johnson slows down. He lands that bomb and gets him out of there. Hockett Freeman could be a bit of a grueling battle before one guy really asserts his dominance and pushes forward and gets that late finish. And then Fugit Miller, I kind of expect to hit the scorecards. G-Funk Double OG, good to see you as well, my friend. Hope to see you in the live chat. Moving forward. Brandon R. saying Paramount app is super buggy for me. It froze twice during Zuffa Boxing last night. Oh, yeah. I forgot Zuffa Boxing was actually airing their stuff yesterday. Huh. Well, there's going to be a little bit of a feeling out period, right? Especially them getting as many viewers as they're likely going to get for this UFC 324 card. They're going to get their bandwidth and all that stuff tested and their servers tested. So this first one might be a little bit wonky, but I'm sure they'll be able to dial it in moving forward. Mega Manify, appreciate you stopping by, saying, what time is UFC 324? As of right now, the prelims should kick off in just over 3 hours. In 3 hours and 10 minutes, UFC 324 prelims should be kicking off. Now, that's not considering the 2 fights that fell off, right? Well, we already knew Kayla and Nunes was going to fall off last week. The Cameron Smotherman fight falling off, and now we're down to 12 fights. I don't know if that's going to change the timing. So there seems to be about a 4-hour gap between when the prelims start and when the main card starts. And from my calculations, 5 fights for the main card, which leaves 7 fights for the prelims, and they usually allocate half an hour per fight. And just doing the quick math off the top of my head, with 7 fights, that means that's 3.5 hours. So there is a possibility that they might actually push the stream back or the prelims back by about half an hour. So that would be 4:30 Eastern time. 5:30 Eastern time that they would start that. But as of right now, UFC.tv, their Fight Pass prelims still state that they start at 4 o'clock. So there should be some filler time in there. Tommy Lipschitz saying, yes, Paramount was always buggy for me trying to watch TV shows. I think it's just my area or something, I don't know. But with Uncle Dana involved, he'll get it straight. Yeah. I've used Paramount Plus a little bit, but haven't had too many issues with it. I think their casting it was kind of tough. But just watching it, watching South Park and any other show that was on there, didn't have too many issues. Let's be serious, saying if Arnold can withstand Silva early and his granite chin can hold plus 7.5 at minus 130 seems solid. Oh, yeah, for sure. Plus 7.5 at minus 130, that's not bad. I think Silva does knock him out, so that would actually rip that ticket up. But if this does end up hitting the scorecards, that's actually not too bad. And plus 7.5, that's wild. Usually it's like plus 3.5. Dre the General saying, why is Figueiredo such an underdog? I just don't see where he has the advantage over Nurmagomedov, right? This guy went from being a headhunter, one-punch knockout guy to a little bit more of a grapple-heavy fighter. That's not going to work here against Nurmagomedov, right? He's not going to out-grapple Nurmi. He's not going to keep him down. His best shot of winning this fight is landing that big knockout, and if he can't do it within the first 5 minutes or so, I think he's kind of screwed. So, yeah, I'm going to go Umar here. I think he wins in round 3 as well. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm leaning here. Just noticed a steep drop-off in viewers. I'm not sure if that's because of the quality or if there's another stream that started or something like that. But I do appreciate most of you guys sticking around if you guys still are here. Plus 3.5 is plus 105. That's not bad. That's crazy. Again, I'm not a big spreads guy, but plus 7.5 at minus 130 sounds crazy. Like that seems almost more worthy than the plus 3.5, just in case, right? But again, I expect this fight to finish inside the distance, so I probably wouldn't make the bet myself. But I, if you're just asking my thoughts on it, that's kind of what I'd say. All right, we're kind of rounding down here. I've got just over 5 minutes that I want to stick around. Then I'm going to just stretch the legs, get a little bit of other work done, and then come back for the watch party stream again. That'll be starting. I'll start at 4 o'clock regardless. Even if the fights start at 4:30, I'll start at 4 o'clock just so we can get situated. I'm going to try to figure out why the video quality is not as good as I would like it to be. And then hopefully I can fix the chat issue as well. All right, Charles Johnson, my lock of the night. We're going to be head-to-head sometimes, my friend. Alex Perez is my dog of the night, so we'll see who ends up being right there. Johnson obviously streaking, looking really good as of late. Perez obviously missing weight, not looking great on the scale, so my confidence has dropped a smidgen on Perez, but got a decent line on him. I think it was like about plus 175-ish that I was able to get. He's down about plus 140, so we got some decent CLV there, but who knows how much the weight cut miss will impact him. But we'll have to see. Let's be serious saying Allen should be live to win a round if it gets... Oh, yeah, for sure. He should win at least one round. My issue has been his output at times, so maybe that constant forward movement of Gene Silva causes him issues. But I think Allen is one of those guys that is perennially underrated and doesn't get as much love as I think he usually deserves. And I think the betting line is kind of an indication of that. I just think that this is a tough stylistic matchup, but still one that, plus 115, plus 120 on the under is not a bad spot either. Chatney saying majority of people are thinking he gets finished is the reason minus 160 is still almost a 2-1 chance. Yeah. I think that's what it is as well. Burr saying, who do you have in the co-main and main? All love, brother. Appreciate the love. Main, I'm going Patty sub, probably round 3 or round 4. Co-main, I'm going Sugar by knockout. I just don't know which round. Would I pay the chalk on those two guys I'm picking to win? Probably not. I don't mind that Sugar knockout prop at around that plus 300 range. Specific round props for Patty, round 3, round 4 sub, I think was like plus 1,100, plus 1,500 respectively. Alex Perez and Figgy look like death on the scales. Yeah, Perez didn't look the greatest, but the one thing I will say about Perez, he was one of the first guys to weigh in, so like he may not have really killed himself trying to make the weight. Yeah. So I'm going to go, I'll still stick with Perez as my prediction there, but obviously doesn't incite much confidence seeing what he looked like on the scales. Figgy looked worse, in my opinion. They both look like they hydrated well for the ceremonial weigh-ins, for what that's worth. But yeah, I think Figgy just has a much tougher challenge than what Alex Perez has. Let's Be Serious saying, take as old as time. The newcomer Miller versus the vet, and the vet shows up. Miller sketches me out because of that dynamic. For sure. That's kind of what I've been hammering all week. I know Fugett's not anybody that really jumps off the page, but 12 years older than Miller. It looks to be the stronger guy, looks to have a better grappling game as well. Miller, not a crazy knockout specialist either. He has good technical striking, don't get me wrong. So he might be able to land a good enough counter that could change the tide of the fight. But, he's no Islam Dulatov with his knockout power. So that kind of gives me a little bit more confidence on the Fugett side, and his big plus money actually seeming quite sexy to me. So yeah, and that's another dynamic, right? The not just a newcomer, a Dana White Contender Series signee, whether they're undefeated or coming off a big knockout streak, they often come into the UFC as a big favorite over a UFC vet of some sort. And, if you were to go one unit on every big newcomer against a vet, you'd probably be in a deficit, right? I think there's more profit to be made on the big underdog UFC vet teaching the newcomer a little bit of a lesson. So, if Miller was 3 or 4 years more along in his MMA career, I'd have a little bit more confidence on him and be more comfortable with that chalk, with him, filling out that frame a little bit better. But Fugett could make this a little bit dirty. He could make it a little bit tough. So, and he's beaten I believe he beat Yusako Kinoshita, who I had a lot of hype on. Right, I think he really underperformed in the UFC, but that guy was very skilled, and Fugit was able to beat him. Not just beat him, I think he knocked him out if I remember correctly. So don't overlook Fugit at all. Dre the General saying such a tough matchup for Song. Yeah, like pre-fight, I was kind of leaning Song, or pre-research, I should say. But once I really started digging into it, man, it seems like a good matchup for O'Malley. Song will probably look to wrestle. I think O'Malley is good enough to shuck most of that off, or at least work back to his feet. And then once Song starts to start striking with him a little more, I think that's where we'll see the brilliance of O'Malley, which got him to a title shot in the first place, really start to show. So, yeah, O'Malley and O'Malley by knockout. I think that's great. Hashtag Team Vets. Yes, we are Team Vets over here. I don't think I'm taking any newcomers on the card off the top of my head. Mostly vets, yeah. Bursting, I'm so excited, but it's 3.5 hours away. Yes. That's what this Fight Day live chat is for. Every 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays. It's to channel that anticipation and that excitement, talking it out with you guys. That's what this stream is for. And then we come back when the fights kick off, 4 p.m. Eastern. Or sorry, not 4 p.m. Eastern. What am I talking about? 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm getting it twisted. I apologize. The time zones and all that is throwing me off here. 5 p.m. Eastern, I will be back to do the Watch Party Buddy stream for the YouTube members. So make sure you join up on that if you want to take part. We're going to have some drinks. We're going to watch the fights. We're going to have a good time. First UFC card of the year. Cannot fucking wait. All right. Pretty much hit the hour mark now. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. You guys have no idea how appreciative I am of you guys swinging by, watching the stream, taking part in the chat as well. I look forward to seeing a lot of the familiar names next week as well, and for all the live streams that we have moving forward. So thanks for taking part. Fight of the night prediction, I'm going to go Gene Silva and Arnold Allen. And if Luis Costa goes a distance, that would be, it might look like Luis versus Ngannou, where both guys are kind of intimidated to pull the trigger here, but I doubt that would happen. But fight of the night should be Gene Silva against Arnold Allen. We'll see how that one plays out. But again, appreciate you guys. Love you guys. For YouTube members, please, if you haven't already, jump on that. That would be amazing. But please do come by if you're already subscribed as a YouTube member. Come back at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be going live for the Watch Buddy stream. Have some drinks. Have some fun. Watch the fights. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And for everybody else, I'll see you guys again on Monday for the UFC 325 MMA Lockcast full card breakdown. Good luck on your action tonight, folks. And I'll see you guys again either later today for the members or Monday for anybody tuning in for the full card breakdown. Peace.